There is a small blue eye hanging from a keychain, a doorway, a wrist, a rearview mirror. Some people call it the evil eye. Others call it protection from the evil eye. That difference is more than a technicality. The object is not one universal symbol from one ancient civilization. It is part of a much older and wider human fear, that attention can turn dangerous when it becomes envy, and that a visible sign might send the danger back. So why do people keep putting eyes on things to protect themselves from eyes? Across different places and periods, people have used phrases translated into English as the evil eye for a feared harmful gaze, often connected with envy, admiration, or ill will. The details are not identical. A charm in one community is not a master key to another community's beliefs. But the basic problem is easy to recognize. Good fortune is visible. A new baby, a harvest, a beautiful home, a successful business. These things invite attention. And attention can carry an uncomfortable question: what happens when someone wants what you have or resents it? The answer in many traditions was not to make envy invisible. It was to give it a shape. A bead, a hand, an eye, a prayer, a gesture, a small object worn close to the body. These are often called apotropaic, protective signs meant to turn harm away. That word is useful, but it should not make the story sound abstract. An amulet was not museum decor to the person who used it. It was a practical response to uncertainty. The ancient Mediterranean gives us many protective objects, but not a single starting gun for every modern eye charm. In Egypt, the Wedjat Eye, the healed eye of Horus, was associated with recovery, regeneration, and protection. The Metropolitan Museum of Art describes a gold example from the Ptolemaic period as an amulet meant to prevent harm and ensure well-being. That is important context, but it is not a license to say every blue eye bead is the Eye of Horus. Similar-looking symbols can belong to different histories. Greek and Roman worlds also used objects meant to repel harm. Romans used the word fascinum for protective devices associated with the evil eye. Museum records preserve charms that may look startling to modern viewers because the point was often not elegance. A strange, comic, or aggressive image could confront danger before danger reached the household. The pattern is not one image defeated one curse. The pattern is that people made protection visible. An image could watch, distract, shock, heal, or stand at a threshold. The familiar blue and white eye bead is widely recognized today, especially around the Mediterranean, West Asia, and the Balkans, but it is only one protective form among many. The British Museum, for example, records a hand-shaped pendant made in Gaza in the early 20th century with a turquoise bead used against the evil eye or eye of envy. Its collection note also connects hand amulets in parts of the Middle East and North Africa with the name Khamsa, meaning 5. The hand and the eye do not erase one another. They are different visual answers to the same uneasy problem. How do you protect a vulnerable life from a hostile gaze? That is why a souvenir shop explanation can be misleading. The blue eye is not simply good luck. In some contexts, it is a defensive image, an eye meeting an eye. And the fact that these objects remain popular does not mean everyone who wears one shares the same belief or uses it in the same way. Objects travel. Their meanings travel with them, change, become fashion, remain devotional, become family custom, or all of those at once. The fear behind the evil eye is not only fear of being seen, it is fear that a gaze might carry envy. Envy is a difficult emotion because it grows in public. You do not have to say it aloud for someone else to feel its pressure. It can appear wherever good fortune is visible: a healthy child, a new home, an admired body, a public success. Protective customs turn that invisible social tension into something people can handle. A charm can be worn, a phrase can be said, a gesture can be made. Whether or not a person treats the practice as literal, symbolic, religious, habitual, or decorative, the object gives shape to a feeling that is otherwise hard to confront. This is an interpretation, not a universal explanation. But it helps explain why the symbol has such staying power. It does not only promise luck, it acknowledges vulnerability. Today, the eye charm appears on jewelry, phone cases, storefronts, tattoos, and social feeds. That visibility can make it seem like an aesthetic trend with no history at all. But symbols do not become empty just because they become popular, they become plural. One person may wear an eye bead because a relative gave it to them. Another may treat it as a cultural sign, another may simply like the design. None of those uses gives us permission to speak for every tradition that has used protective imagery. The more interesting question is why the image still works at a glance. It makes a hidden threat visible, then answers it with another gaze. You do not need a long explanation to understand the visual logic. Something is watching back. That may be why eye symbols keep reappearing far beyond one place or time. They transform anxiety about attention into a compact design, small enough for a wrist, strong enough for a doorway. The evil eye charm is not an ancient object frozen in a single meaning. It is a visible answer to a very old fear, that envy can enter a life through attention. Ancient Egyptian eye amulets, Roman protective devices, hand-shaped pendants, blue beads, and contemporary jewelry are not interchangeable. Their stories are specific. But they share an important human move. When danger feels invisible, make protection visible. So the next time you see that small blue eye, do not only ask where it came from, ask what problem it is trying to solve. And for another ritual hiding in ordinary life, watch next, Why We Knock on Wood.